Hello, Dee Dee here. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Google Classroom. There are several ways to access Google Classroom. One way is to click on the apps icon up there, and you will see here I've got Google Classroom. I can click on that and access my classes in Google Classroom. Another way to access it is by simply typing in classroom.google.com, and it'll take you right to the Classroom page. As you can see, I've got a couple of courses already set up. When you first log on, you'll be prompted to select your role as a student or teacher. Please make sure to select teacher. Once you've selected that role, you will be sent to this page. You can see here we've got a little plus sign, and you've got two options: join a class or create a class. In this instance, we want to go ahead and create a class. Kind of a note or quick tip that you might want before you set up your class is you want to go ahead and think about how you want to set up these courses, what you want to call these courses, especially if you teach multiple classes or multiple courses or multiple periods. So if you have, for example, 7 blocks, you want to make sure you start with 7th block first and then work your way backwards. So you're going to go ahead and create 7th block, then 6th block, 5th, etc. So let's go ahead and create, for example, test classroom. And since this is, let's say I teach 7 sections, I want to start with the last section first. So I'm going to call that 7th block. And here you go. Now you've got your classroom. So once you've set up your classroom, the next thing you want to do is make sure that you have students in your classroom. So let's go ahead and start in the Students tab. We'll come back to Stream in a minute. Once you click on that Students tab, you'll notice here that you will be given a code. This is very similar to Edmodo. So you want to make sure that your 7th block students have access to this particular code. The other thing to note here is this drop-down menu. When you create your classroom, you've got the option to create sort of parameters, if you will. Do you want your students to be able to post and comment? Can students only post comments, or do you only want the teacher to post comments? But let's just go ahead and start with students can post and comment. Here again is your class code, and you've got an option to reset it or disable your code, so once you've started the course, nobody else can join the class. Really up to you. So again, that's under your Students tab, and that's how you add your students there. The next tab I'd like to talk a little bit about is your About tab. So we're going to go ahead and set this tab up. You'll notice here that there is a Google Drive folder that has been created called Test Classroom 7th Block. This folder lives in your Google Drive, so this is the area that you want to be able to put information in, Google Docs, slides, sheets, etc. This is automatically generated and created when you create a class in Google Classroom. The other thing you can do under the About tab is invite another teacher. So for example, if you have an inclusion teacher you want to share information with, or maybe you co-teach with another teacher, you want to make sure that you invite that teacher to your classroom so that they are able to edit and upload posts, assignments, announcements, etc. They pretty much have the same access you do. The only thing they cannot do is delete your classroom. So that's where you invite a teacher. Some of the materials you might want to add to the About tab are materials that you know your students will be needing all year long. So for example, your syllabus. And you've got the same options as you do when you're adding an announcement, a core announcement or assignment, as you'll see. You can upload a file from your hard drive. You can upload a file maybe that you have in your Google Drive, and then all you've got to do is, let me just open up my Google Drive. Earlier I mentioned the classroom. Here's the folder, and again, here's my Test Classroom 7th block. So for example, I could open that up, and if I had my documents here, my syllabus is here, I could go ahead and access it there. And then you could just go ahead, attach your syllabus here, and then add that in. The other thing you can also add here is, for example, a link to your website, or maybe there's certain websites that you'd like your students to access all year long. You're able to attach that link here again under the About tab. Under your Stream tab, this is the area where most of the activity will happen, and this looks very much like any social media platform. For example, Facebook, Edmodo. this platform looks very, very familiar, or very similar, I should say. And the way you add an assignment is by clicking this plus button, and you can either create an announcement, an assignment, ask a question, or maybe reuse a post from earlier in the year or one that you've used in the past. So in this case, let's go ahead and create an assignment. So for the assignment, maybe I want my students to tell me a little bit about themselves. And I want to give it a due date. So in this case, let's give them maybe till next Friday at midnight to turn that in. The other option you have here is that once you create an assignment, you can assign that to different classes or just one class in particular. Let's say, for example, I want this to go to my 7th block and my 5th block class. So I'm going to go ahead and check that one off as well. And then, just like we saw earlier under the About tab, you've got the options to pull material from your drive, from your hard drive, or maybe a video or a link. So I want to go ahead and assign that, and I have two options here. I can assign it right now, or I can save it as a draft if I want to post it at a later date. And in this case, I want to go ahead and assign it now. And then you'll see here that the assignment will post to the stream or to the feed. And once students begin to turn in that information, you'll see that this will begin to change. So you'll see the number of students that have completed the assignment and how many are still pending, depending on how many students you have in your class. And this will be determined by the students once they begin enrolling in your class. And you can see the other ones are just as easy, the other options. So here, for example, I'm just going to create an announcement. And again, if you'd like, you can add attachments, links, videos. You can assign that. Let's go ahead and assign that to 5th block as well, as I mentioned earlier. Then I just click post. And you see here, very similar. You've got this icon letting students know that they have an assignment here. This announcement doesn't have an icon, so they know that this is just an announcement and nothing is required of them. So I hope this video has helped you a little bit with navigating through Google Classroom. If you have any questions, you can reach me anytime. Thank you.